Katrina Shanks.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's my pleasure to take a call on the Commerce Commission, International Cooperation and Fees Bill tonight. The proposals in the Commerce Commission Bill are part of the single economic market outcomes framework announced by the New Zealand and Australian Prime Ministers in August last year. The bill enables greater cooperation between the Commerce Commission, its Australian counterpart and other overseas regulators. It's actually about lifting economics performance. The bill is part of the national-led government's focus on improving access for our exporters to world markets. Boosting innovation and improving export access to world markets is one of our 6 policy drivers for a step change in New Zealand's economic performance. And only by lifting our economic performance can we create more jobs, boost incomes, improve living standards and provide the world-class public services that Kiwi families need. Actually, it's a bit more than that. It's actually about making it easier to do the business with Australia, making it easier for our businesses to go to bigger markets. And this is one step towards that. Because what you find in New Zealand when you go around and you talk to the businesses up and down the country, and we have a huge number of businesses who have got a huge amount of capacity and capability to actually go to bigger markets. But in New Zealand we have an issue. We don't have what's known as critical mass. So in New Zealand you have a company that's relatively small, that sells well within New Zealand to our market within New Zealand. But that market is very limited by the size of New Zealand itself. So if our companies want to export, if our companies want to grow in capability and capacity, they actually have to go offshore. And to do that, it means they're entering markets which they're not familiar with, markets which have different international laws, markets which have different international regulations, markets which have different exchange rates. And actually, for this guy that's an owner-operator, that's got a great business, that actually wants to take it to that next step, it's actually a really big move. It's a really, really scary move for a lot of those businesses which don't have the skills in law, don't have the skills in accountancy, and don't understand actually how to take their business to the next step. And by going into overseas markets is actually really a big step for these businesses to take. So this is actually one step towards finding another economy where we can go in that has the same type of international laws as we do, has the same types of regulations as we do, and an exchange which they can understand. Because they're going out into these international markets and they're competing about other companies that are already at that critical mass state. For a company to produce a million products in New Zealand or a million units in New Zealand, they may have to go to one other exporting country. Whereas in America, for a company to produce the same 1 million units, they don't have to leave their country to do it. They don't have to enter new markets. They don't have to understand all the regulations around those markets. So immediately, our small companies that are trying to grow are at a disadvantage because they've got all these barriers and all these regulations and all these costs to add on to the cost of their products. They're not as competitive as they might be. So it's really important that we ensure that we go forward and that we make it as easy as we possibly can for these companies. Mr Speaker, it's my pleasure to be up on my feet tonight and support the Commerce Commission, International Cooperation and Fees Bill tonight. Thank you.